He left his window open again. The familiar sound of rain hitting the concrete found its way across the strain of his window and into his ears. One half of him was comforted by it. It was natural, a beautiful sound. But the other half of him just wanted to sleep, and it was stopping him from doing that. With as much strength as he could, Thomas pushed himself off of his chest and onto his knees. He closed his windows as quickly as the sound disappeared once it was sealed. With a sigh, he returned to his bed. But before he pulled the covers back over his body, attempting to find that desirable warmth once again, he soon realized that he couldn't go to sleep just yet. His bladder was at its peak, and he knew he wouldn't be able to hold it until morning, let alone sleep without uncomfortable sensation. With another sigh, he used more of his strength and lifted his body off of his bed for the second time. His feet met the cold wooden floor, and he slowly steadied himself on his two legs. He looked down at his clock on his bedside table to see the time, 1:17 a.m. He looked back towards his bedroom door and put his hands out in front of him to guide himself through the dark hallways. He walked a couple feet forward and turned right to go into the bathroom. That's where his heart stopped. It was dark, but the nightlight that was always on throughout the evening illuminated the entire room. Thomas looked down to see his entire family on the bathroom floor. His mother, father, and two younger brothers lay there, still, piled on top of one another, while blood slowly rolled its way down each of the bodies. They were murdered, brutally. Thomas's breathing got heavier and heavier the more he looked at what was in front of him. His mother was looking directly at him. Her once blue eyes were now an empty gray. She stared at him with a gaping mouth, in which blood slowly oozed out. He couldn't move. He was as still as the corpse in front of him. He felt tears begin to build up at the edge of his eyelid when he heard something in the house. It could have been his imagination. Something might have fallen, or something might have moved in the pitch-black hallway. Thomas's sadness and agony left immediately, being replaced with a large amount of adrenaline and a fear of ending up like his family. Without hesitation, he sprinted back into his room and shut the door. The knob had no lock, so he had to figure out what to do. The person who killed his family was still in his house, and he was coming for Thomas. He looked around his room to see if he could find something to block his door, or maybe a weapon to defend himself. He looked to his right and saw his bookshelf. He didn't have time to lose. He swore that he heard footsteps coming for the door as soon as he closed it. He wasn't going to wait and see if he was imagining it. He went to the far right of the bookshelf and used the last of his energy to push the shelf in front of the door. It was heavy, it took a lot of his strength, but it was in position within seconds. Exhausted and scared for his life, he fell to the ground and curled into a ball. He felt the tears roll down his cheeks and fall slightly to the ground next to his face. His bladder was no longer an issue. He couldn't stop thinking about the way his mother looked at him. Why did her eyes have to be open? Why did they have to die? He lay there for a few minutes until he pulled himself together. He told himself he would never leave this house alive if he didn't try and escape. He quickly got up from the puddle he made on the floor and went to the window. He could easily break it, but it was the fall that made him think twice. His room was right above the shed. If he jumped, he would be landing in a thin alley between his brick house and a small aluminum structure. If he got past that, there's a possibility of there being garden tools on the ground or firewood that can injure him. He needed to get out of the house unharmed. Otherwise, whoever was in the house with him could catch him easier. Thomas looked down in defeat, almost to accept the fact that he would not get out alive. When he saw the solution he needed, his phone. Thomas grabbed it and the home screen lit up. He only had 18% of battery, but it would be enough. He quickly typed in his password and went to the phone app, where he dialed 911.
Pick up, please.
911, what's your emergency?
Please, you have to help me.
Sir,
There's someone in my house and he's gonna fucking kill me. You have to get over here right now.
I can't understand you. Please speak slowly.
I'm sorry. I just found my family dead in the bathroom. I heard something down the hall, so I locked myself in my room. I have no way out. Please, you have to help me.
Sir, where do you live? Sir, I need an address.
389 Warner. 389 on Warner.
Okay. A patrol car is on their way immediately. What I want you to do is stay quiet, okay? Stay calm. Armed officers will be there soon to deal with the suspect. What are you wearing?
What the fuck are you talking about?
I need to give a description to the officers so they know that you're the one who called and that you're innocent.
I'm wearing a red shirt. I have black sweatpants, black hair. I'm 18, 6'1".
Okay, that's good. I'm gonna tell them that. Like I said, just stay quiet and...
He hung up the phone as soon as he heard the noise outside his room. It was a subtle thump, but it was there. He wondered if whoever did it was just listening to the conversation right now. Listening to his voice. Listening to the way he pleaded and begged for his life to be spared. Knowing that he was the last member of the family to survive. Thomas held his breath as more tears rolled down his face. He didn't hear anything anymore. Whoever was out there had either left the house or went to a different room. Thomas let his shoulders slowly come down from their tense position. Then his phone buzzed. He looked down immediately to see that he got a text from his mom. He unlocked his phone to see what was sent to him.
You know what your mother tastes like, Thomas. I know. I have had things in my mouth that have pleased me. But your mother's skin felt like an emotion I have always longed for. I'm coming for you.
More texts kept coming in, each one worse than the last. He wanted to look away, but he couldn't. Every time a text came in, all he could think about was his mother's face.
I want you to join your family, Thomas.
That empty, blood-soaked face that was permanently burned into his mind.
Make it easy for me. Pretend you're sleeping. Cover yourself with your blanket to protect yourself like your brothers did.
That's when he had enough. He went into the app to write his own message. Listen to me, you fucker. Those cops are gonna be here at any moment. If they don't kill you while you're trapped out there, then they're gonna arrest you. And you're gonna spend life in prison, so shut the fuck up. With anger fueling his mind, he sent the text and threw his phone across the room. He immediately regretted that decision. He knew that if he had to call the cops again, that was his only way of reaching them. He went down on his knees and picked up the phone on the ground. But as he picked it up, another ringtone rang out. It wasn't his. It was his mother's. The killer got the text. It was dark, but Thomas could look in the direction where the text came from. It didn't come from inside the bathroom. It didn't come from outside his room. It didn't come from outside the house. It came from his closet. He stood still in fear, looking at the white door at the end of his bed. This whole time, he thought that he trapped the man outside. But he was the one who was trapped. And he never was alone.